Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Gold newcomer Sibanye Gold is turning Beatrix gold mine's lethal methane gas into a power generation blessing at a third of the Eskom tariff. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Martin, how is Sibanye Gold using lethal methane gas to make electricity and at such a reasonable cost?
Yeah, they've been working on this since 2006 because it isn't an easy thing to do. If you want to claim carbon credits, etc., you've got to go through a very formal process. And with Europe not as flush as it was when they announced all these carbon credits, it's even more difficult. But they started off with the idea that there must be safety in the mine because, many people died from methane gas poisoning, and it's an unusual methane gas. Well, it's unusual to have that in a gold mine. You normally associate methane gas with coal mines, and people taking the canary down, and when the canary dies, they flee the mine, etc. But you don't associate it with gold mines, and it's not really from the gold seams that this deadly methane gas is being emitted, but it's from geology lower down, and so they decided they're going to flare this, which means you're going to burn it. But they needed to get it out to the mine so that they would dilute the level to a point where it wouldn't kill people any longer. And there hasn't been a death since they did this, so it has worked. And for flaring it, they would get carbon credits. I think it cost them about 42 million rand to put up the installation and to get the piping system to get all the gas to surface and then flare it. And they would be able to claim carbon credits over 7 years of 200 million. So it became, quite a nice proposition. Now they are putting a cherry on top of that by actually generating electricity from that methane gas. And for that, they get a credit which is 25% higher. It's a premium credit. So again, it's an incentive to do that. And they use that as you would normally use coal. So, they burn this highly ignitable methane gas to create the heat which is needed to generate steam, which is needed to turn the turbines and generate electricity. And this is going to be done from the end of the month. Fairly moderate percentage. I mean, they're using 82 megawatts from Eskom at the moment and paying, I think it's 57 cents a kilowatt hour. They're able to do it at far less than that, about 37.44 cents a kilowatt hour. So it is a business case. There's a business case for all this. At the same time, you're creating greater safety in the mine, and you are dealing with this problem of the escalating price of electricity. Because although it's 57 cents per kilowatt hour now, it's going to keep rising, I think, to 91 cents and beyond over this 5-year period. So every year this will become more profitable, and as they get more gas, instead of just doing over 2% of what they require, they'll go to close to 5% of their requirements. So this will be a sweetener in lowering the cost of energy for themselves.
So what megawatts are they producing themselves at the moment?
They are producing 2 megawatt, and once they get more gas from their source, they will go to 4 megawatt.
It's quite impressive.
It is, and coming on the back of the carbon monoxide, which they're burning at BHP Billiton's Metalloys factory in Meyerton. This is another gesture, towards reducing the carbon footprint, but at the same time generating electricity low cost. The Metalloys, of course, they're doing it far lower cost. I think it's 1 cent per kilowatt hour. But this 37.44 comes via a supplier, so there's a different setup.
Can you tell us a bit more about their carbon credit situation?
Yeah, the carbon credit is very complicated. So you'd have to get experts to actually do it for you. Promethean was the mover there for them, a service provider that can do all the calculations for you, put it through the procedures and the process, and see that it comes through at the other end. But it's part of the Kyoto Protocol. People buy carbon mitigation offerings, and this is one of them. It was far more vigorous before there was a severe downturn in Europe, and we haven't heard as much about it. So it's good to see this coming through, although you can see it's taken a long time. I mean, initially planned 2006, they're coming through in 2013, and by the end of the month they'll be doing the ultimate part of their plan, and that is generating electricity.
Now, speaking about generating the electricity, they're renting gen sets from Aggreko. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, it's interesting that they've decided that they will outsource the sort of provision of the generator sets to a specialist in this field, which is Aggreko, and they have actually given them the generating capacity, and they are renting. It's a sort of a rental arrangement for the first 2 megawatts. I'm sure that was the right way to go, because these people are experts in the field. But they're saying that for the next 2, they'll do their sums again, and they might work out that it pays them to get the gen sets themselves. But in the meantime, I think in the first 2 megawatts, Aggreko is going to be the renter of the gen sets and sort of the supplier of the electricity at a price at this stage, 37.44 cents per kilowatt hour.
Now tell us a bit about the safety on the project.
Yeah, you know, safety is a big thing here. That was the prime movement. They're doing it for safety reasons. I think about 40 employees died, you know, between the year 1983 and 2001. We used to read every now and again of these methane deaths, which was unusual for a gold mine. So they now have got to make sure that there are no leakages and all the other things that can happen. So there are quite a few technical steps that they've taken.
None involving canaries.
None involving canaries, and they've got these flashback arresters which isolate the main flare, and they've also got self-closing valves at monitoring positions, and these slam shut, you know, if there's any breach of the system. So they have taken every step to make sure that you know, safety is maintained. And as they report, no one has actually died from methane, from a methane gas explosion since they diluted the methane in their mine, which is in the Free State, by the way. This is in the Free State. It's the Beatrix mine, and the methane gas comes from a depth of just more than 800 meters, and the pipe system I think they go over about more than 3 kilometers.
So it's really impressive.
It's impressive, and they have had an article in the journal of the Mining and Metallurgy Institute
already about this.
So
other mines could share it.
So they're sharing it. Most, you know, generally when it comes to safety on mines, people share, which is a good thing. And they have taken a decision to do that, because when it comes to human life, you know, they want to make sure that they get to the 0 level of deaths in underground mines.
Well, thank you very much, Martin.
Great pleasure, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insight into what's happening in the mining world.